Like I said before, I still got 1 foot in the Stone Age. So, but I'm trying here. I'm trying. I'm trying. What I have on my computer, my laptop has the UCam 5, and I mean I've used it before, but not very often. And just to record something.
Oh, no kidding. Well, I can put your picture up if you just want to talk. I mean, that's going to kind of suck, but I mean, it is what it is for this point, I guess.
Yeah, darn.
Unfortunately, because we are late, but we are live, but...
You had a storm go through there? Where are you, Teddy?
I'm in Avon, New York. I'm up below Rochester.
Okay.
In New York.
Okay. I was watching on my phone. I was watching a panel of circus performers. They were up in, well, they were all over the place, but the one that was in Houston had a big storm go through there, and he had the same problems I'm having right now. But we don't have a storm here now. So
well, you can always try and close it out and restart it again and see if you can get it to work.
Why don't I do that?
Sometimes redoing it would work. Yeah, sure, go for it.
Go back.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see.
WLFE DB Radio.
Talk with Teddy starts now. You pick the topic, I pick the guest. Remember, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube page, Facebook, and more. You're listening to Talk with Teddy on WLFE DB Radio Network. Please check out our website at WLFE-DB.com.
Woohoo! Hi guys, it's me. We're having a few issues here. Our guest is having problems signing on at this moment. So no video. What do you mean no video? You should have been able to see everything, mister. Well, you can't see me? You should have. Should have been able to see me. Shouldn't have been an issue. So, alright. So, at this moment, what we're doing is we're actually waiting for him to pop back in. He was having a problem with his system. So we'll see what happens here and see if we can get him back in. Hello, everybody, and I'm not sure who's in there, but I'm going to get the watch party started while I have the opportunity. Tonight's going to be an interesting show. We have a magician on the show. Awesome guy. Recommended by Jade DeVore from one of the other shows on the network. He's got a list a mile long of stuff, so but he's accomplished, which is really cool. So let me get this watch party started here, and we'll be good to go. Tom, I see you. But it seems like... There he is. I can see you.
That's me. All right. I don't know what I did. I just kind of went over everything a second time.
Now, are you hooked into the Ethernet cable, or are you just on Wi-Fi?
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Okay. It's probably why you're slowing down and all that stuff, but we'll go with it. That's okay.
Okay, whatever you say. You're the jefe. You're the boss.
We'll make do with what we got, right?
All right.
Okay. So, real quick, I just want to go over this. Pat Davison here. He first started performing at the age of 7
Right.
with a book that your brother brought home for magic tricks.
Correct.
So you
Yeah.
kind of stole it from your brother, I guess.
I did. Yeah. He was older than me. He could read already. I had just learned to read, and he came home. He's a voracious reader to this day. But he brought home books from the school library, and here's one that said "Magic Made Easy." I thought, wow. I had seen a magician that was a friend of my dad, and thought, wow, and I'm going to know how he did all these tricks, But that's how it started. My first book, and I was able to read it and learn a couple tricks out of it. Which one of them, the first trick I learned was how to make a nickel disappear.
Wow.
And I found out that we were in the dentist waiting room. Went to the dentist with my mom, and in the waiting room there were people sitting around there, and I showed my mom the nickel trick, and somebody else another patient saw that and they wanted to see it, so I showed them. The nice thing was that every time the nickel disappeared, it ended up in my pocket. So I thought, well, this is okay. I'll make a living doing this,
Right. That's very cool. Let's see here. Pat pursued his education and earned a bachelor's degree in speech and theater arts from the University of Minnesota, majoring in radio and television production, which is very, very cool. After graduating, he followed his youthful dream of running away with the circus, and
Yes.
thus began his career in show business. So, I gotta ask, what was it that actually drew you to the circus? Was it just the big tops, the whole lifestyle, because you did magic? What was it that drew it to you?
It was. It started back in the 30s before I was around. But my dad had an uncle that was an accountant with the Ringling Brothers Circus back in the 30s,
Wow.
and he took my dad to the circus every chance he could. So the circus bug was very contagious, and if there was we grew up in Minneapolis, and if there was a circus within 100 miles or more of Minneapolis, and my dad knew about it, we'd be there, and he knew everybody. And it just growing up, seeing it all the time, and I just loved it, and I thought, well, this would be a really cool way to live, and it is.
That sounds amazing. That sounds really amazing. I myself, I always thought about it, but I don't know. I didn't have any hidden talent. I can't juggle, I can't. I was never good at anything really. I could sing, but that was about it. So
But you can talk. You can talk up a storm, and
I could talk.
There's a market for that too amongst the. Well, in a couple of ways in a circus, the ringmaster, the announcer, has to be glib, or it helps if he is.
Yep.
Also, the concession people and the front end people that are out, the advanced people that are selling the circus and booking the circus, they got to be fast talkers, believe me.
And the circus is one of those things that I had the opportunity as a kid to go see the circus, but you don't see them very often anymore. And
It's sad.
yeah, it's real sad. The Greatest Showman came out on TV, well, on DVD as a movie, as a film, and
Yeah.
I loved it. With the big top and all that stuff. It was a great movie. Real quick, I want to say hello to Scott Wells for joining us here. Sharon Bennett, Charles Sanborn, Kathy DeGraw, Hannah Sinclair, Lisa Hagedorn. Thank you so much for joining us over there on the watch party. Over here we have Tom Nally on the StreamYard Direct with us right here, and it looks like he's also on YouTube watching us as well. So we will fill up a little bit at a time here. But circus, man, I'm telling you, that's got to be wild. That's got to be a lot of fun.
It is. It's right now. My favorite aspect of the circus is working in tent shows. tent. So I worked in big ones, little ones, indoor circuses, outdoor circuses, Harlem Globetrotters halftime shows,
Wow. Yep, I saw
which
that.
it was, that was a circus of its own, believe me. Right on the bus with those guys. You know, I don't want to get too far off the subject, but
No,
I
that's
was just
okay.
watching when while I was waiting to connect with you, I was watching a panel. There's a website or a blog called Circus Talk, and I don't often pay much attention to it, but with the climate in the country nowadays, they're talking about diversity and inclusion and so on. It made me think back to my first day with the Harlem Globetrotters, which took place in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a long story, but I got flown in there late. My papers weren't ready. They couldn't get my passport and all this stuff in order. When they finally did, I got flown in and showed up the first day after the game had started. And well, I found out a couple things. We had some heavy equipment, not heavy equipment, but some props that needed to be set out on the floor at halftime. And their manager there was this guy. He was called. His name was J.C. Gibson. He was the gentle giant. This guy was. He seemed like he was 10 feet tall. He was a retired ball player, and he was their manager at that point. And he carried my props out and put them on the center of the floor. And when he turned to me to see if he had set them in the right place. And not knowing certain gestures in Brazil, I gave him the OK sign like that. Big mistake. It means something else out there. But it's something not very nice. But after the show, I got a great big laugh from the audience there. But after the show, it's time to get on the bus and go back to the hotel. It was my first time on the bus. So I got on there and sat down where there was an empty seat. Well, here come the Globetrotters one at a time. And the first one that came on was Marcus Haynes. He was like one of the originals, old-time Globetrotter. And he looked at me and he says, young man, white people sit in the back. So, okay. So sure enough, I was my seat at the back of the bus. But I do digress. But I love the tent circuses, and the tent circuses. I think you can count them on one hand at this point, especially this year with the pandemic and the flu and all this stuff. They all just closed down and went home. I mean. Fortunately, where we live down here, we're on the Mexican border, and there's one Mexican circus that has its winter quarters about 15 minutes from the house here. And we got to see their show before they closed. And there's another American circus from that's based in Oklahoma. They were down here. We got to see their show before they closed. And they still have elephants with that circus.
Wow.
And there was another Mexican circus that was here over the holidays. So we got to see some circuses here, but then, boom. Overnight, this pandemic hits, and they all closed down and went home, and they're still sitting at winter quarters.
Yeah, over here in New York, because of the Eastern Seaboard, we don't normally get stuff here till July, August for carnivals, and stuff like that. But they all canceled for the year. All carnivals. All circuses, we got nothing.
Yeah, the amusement park. There's a park up in Pennsylvania that we've worked. This will be our 22nd year if they get open. But they're opening slowly. They have a campground. Their campground is open now. But they're on the phone with them. I find out that there's a major county fair up there in York, Pennsylvania. The York Fair, major. They used to bring in like Willie Nelson and Barbara Mandrell, big names there for their grandstand. They canceled this year. Minnesota State Fair canceled. Another amusement park up there in Pennsylvania, not far from the one that we work at, they decided not to open this year. Our park, fortunately, they are slowly opening. But here's an example: we're supposed to start working there June 10th, and we're still sitting home here in Texas waiting for the phone call for them to say, "Yeah, we can have entertainment now. Please come up." Then we got a 4-day drive to get there to go back to work, but. And just everything shut down. I could go on and on with all the work that got canceled. And other performers I talked to, I mean, last day we worked was March 15th. And since then, everything that we had booked is kaput.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask, because of the fairs and the carnivals and the circuses, like, because you've been working them for a long time, The old standard thing, like the bearded lady and all that stuff. Did the circuses you worked in had stuff like that?
Some did.
Oddities and
Some did, and but not for quite a while. Not for quite a while. There was one a sideshow, and they used the term freak show. Call it un-PC if you want, but that's what they called themselves, as a freak show. There was one that was still going a few years ago, but the owner, the producer, passed away. He was an elderly man, and I don't think they're open at all. But I'll give you an example of how that works. Milwaukee, Wisconsin used to have a big circus festival there in the summertime. They had a major circus parade. They would bring in hundreds of teams of horses from all over the country to they brought in the wagons, the circus wagons, the antique wagons from the Circus World Museum in Baraboo, Wisconsin. They brought all those on the train over to Milwaukee, and they imported all these teams of horses to pull these wagons in the parade. It was a beautiful event. Schlitz Brewery was a major sponsor there, and it went on for years. Well, they had a show grounds where people could come and look at the wagons, the antique wagons, which were just gorgeous, beautiful works of art. And one year, they brought in a sideshow, and it was a typical old-fashioned sideshow under a tent, and they had the sideshow banners, the big canvas banners that had these garish paintings of all the attractions you would see inside. They had a legitimate bearded lady. They had a legitimate fat man, sword swallower, fire eater, magician, and the guy out in front that they always used to call him the Barker, which is a misnomer. He's actually called a sideshow talker or an opener. The guy that was doing the opening was very experienced, and he was a character. He wore, chrome-plated suit and big giant cigar, and he's a little like a gangster, but he's done a great sideshow opening. And my brother's listening. My brother used to work there, and he'd listen to the people in the audience. And the sideshow talker is describing all the freaks and human oddities inside. And the people standing in the crowd, they would say, "Oh, this sounds terrible. Oh, this is awful. How much is it? Let's go." And the thing was a huge success. There's still a market for it. In other words,
that sounds terrible. You don't want to see that. It sounds gross. You don't want to go in there. How much are the tickets?
Yeah, here we go. I don't want to miss it.
Well, I tried to get us a background there for the circus real quick.
Sorry?
I got us a little circus background.
Oh, I see. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that looks familiar.
Clowns. Had to be a lot of clowns. I love clowns, but there's so many people that don't like them. What is it? God, I can't remember. Chlorophobia? I think that's what it's called.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is a technical term for it. That sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I love clowns. It was always interesting when you went to a circus. There was always the entertainers with juggling and the clowns. I guess the clowns were my favorite because I loved how they could pack all those people in those little tiny cars, and go around, and I'm like, how do they fit so many people in there? And, we tried, when I was in college, we did this whole thing where we had to get as many people in a old-fashioned phone booth. Remember those things?
Yes, I remember that.
You had to fill that with as many people as possible, and we actually got 22 people in one of those.
Oh, you're kidding.
22.
And you got out again without breaking the glass and demolishing the phone booth?
Yep, but we all came out with scratches or bruises, but yeah, we got 22 people in one of those. It's very, very hard to do.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's got to be a record.
I don't know if it was or not, but it was fun.
And those that go on too, those are a thing of the past. Yeah, trying to find a phone booth nowadays, or even a payphone.
Yeah. But circus. So you started out in the circus. You're still working the circus,
yes.
Which sounds like an amazing life to me. I would love stuff like that. You live out of touring trailers, I'm guessing, right? Campers in trailers that go along. Is it right across the United States, or is it just specific places that you would go, or?
Well, it kind of varies. For example, we used to go out to the West Coast, because I worked with a lot of different shows, big ones, little ones, and things you never heard of,
Right.
And some of them would go out west, and it kind of went in cycles. There'd be several years where I'd go out to the West Coast and back, and now I haven't been out to the West Coast since 2008. And now we spend most of our time on the road going up to the East Coast, up to your part of the country up there,
Nice.
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, up in that area, and a little bit in the Midwest. Yeah, I grew up in Minnesota, so we used to go up there. I used to book things up there so I could go up and visit my family.
Right. That's cool. I've always wanted to do something like that. I mean, that's amazing. So you are also a juggler, a balancer, and you do a magic act.
Yes.
So, and that was since 1968. You've been doing that? Wow.
Yeah, for a living. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't. I was born in 67. Oh, I feel
67?
so bad. 67. Yeah, 1967. So, but yeah. So you. I don't know how you juggle, man. I tried, and I'm like, yeah. I always broke things. I guess I just wasn't my hand and eye coordination just wasn't good enough. I guess, but it's funny because I can pat my head and rub my tummy at the same time. I can do that.
There you go. So you got the hand-eye coordination. Well, it could be several things. It could be. I mean, how did you try to learn? Just by yourself, or did you read a book or look at a video?
Just myself. I just started throwing the balls to see if I could do it. I could do two from time to time. I mean, that was pretty easy, but you get a third in there and forget it. I was dropping stuff. But I guess it's like everything. You just have to learn. You have to keep doing it, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I was leading up to. You possibly some coaching would have helped you, but also the desire, because anybody can learn to do it. It's just how bad do you want to learn to do it? How long do you want to stand there and bend over and pick up stuff that you dropped? I mean, it's the desire, you know.
Or get stabbed with knives if you're juggling knives, or drop eggs. I don't want to drop eggs either. That'd be a mess.
You don't want to catch the wrong end of a fire torch either. That's no fun.
Yeah, no. That's not for me.
Yeah, I learned a lot well, let's see. By the time I got in high school, I was practicing in our living room in our house, and I felt bad for my dad because he'd be sitting there reading his evening paper. Wintertime in Minnesota, you don't go outside unless you have to. I mean, I never did. I didn't like the winters up there growing up there, but I'd be practicing juggling in the living room. My dad's sitting there behind me reading in his newspaper, and every now and then a juggling club would go fly and bounce off the ceiling and hit his paper. And my dad, don't get me started on my dad. He was so patient. This guy, he was a saint.
Wow. Yeah, I just now going on to like balancing stuff. Like, I'm a pretty good balancer. I can balance stuff. That's not a problem. You know, that's pretty good. I can do that, I think. You know.
Sure. You're a mess with the.
I can balance pizza on several arms. You know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Branson is an Italian name, or what is that?
Dutch Irish, actually.
Dutch Irish. Okay.
Dutch Irish. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a little Scotch Irish, mostly Swede, but on my dad's side, we're Scotch Irish. Yeah.
Yeah. We're Dutch Irish, and my mom is Iroquois, Indian, and a little bit of English.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're born and raised up there in upstate New York?
Yes. I've lived in several different states, though. Didn't stay there long. Always came home.
Yeah.
My buddy Tom Nally's on here watching. He says I can balance a beer in each hand and one in the belly.
Now that's a skill. That is a skill.
Good skill, Tom.
Yeah. I've got something to juggle if you want to see the juggling. Briefly.
Sure.
Give me a second. It's over here behind me.
Okay, cool. This will be fun.
I don't know if I can stay in frame here or not. I can't see myself. Oh, there I am. Let me back up a little bit.
There you go.
There's the three balls. That's the basic right there. You got to be able to do that.
Wow. That's awesome.
It was nothing. I could tell by the applause.
Wait a minute, I got one of those. I got one of those. Hold on a second. I actually do have one for you.
Oh, beautiful. Now I feel better. Now I feel.
Oh, there. I got you an applause.
Yeah,
awesome.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Tom says that beer balancing is an Irish skill.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. Barry Martz, hello for joining us. Mike Clark, Grant Gaskin, Ellie, thank you. Jim Jenkins, and Phyllis Beach, who is my aunt, believe it or not. She's on here as well, watching us, which is awesome. So we get a few more people in here. So we've covered those things, but magic is one of those things that when you're a kid, like you started out when you making the nickel disappear and stuff like that. I had a friend that just passed probably about a month ago. His name was John. We used to call him the Magic Man. And he used to do up close personal magic with cards and stuff like that. And I'll tell you a story real quick on my side. So we were friends. We went to school together. He was a couple grades ahead of me though, and just a great guy. But him and I became friends because he was a lead singer in a band, which I did for 18 years, touring on the East Coast. So I used to perform in front of many people at a time on big, huge stage. I think the biggest I've ever performed there was like 74 or 75,000 people, and pretty big crowd. And so John and I got started talking and hanging out and stuff like that, and he showed me all of his magic stuff. I mean, he could balance cards, like in between his hand there'd be like one card floating. Don't know how that happens. But he used to have this trick where he had this little red straw from the bars. We'd go in and have a drink in the little mixing straw.
Yeah.
And he would make it disappear up his nose.
Oh.
Well, the one night he went to do it, and it actually went up his nose.
Oh, jeez.
Hit the nerves, blood all over the place.
Wow.
And right until like a month ago, we laughed about it because it was our moment where it was just like, yep, Ted, you wanted me to do that damn straw trick, and look what happened. I bled all over the place. He never forgave me for it, but I love magic. I think magic is one of those things that it still makes kids today go, ooh, ah,
Yeah.
Same with adults. I mean, they're like, well, how did you do that? It's just one of those mysterious, fun things that just, I mean, it's timeless. I mean, it's just a timeless piece of art, and then when Mitch said that he knew a magician, I'm like, oh my God, I want him on the show, because this is a variety show, and I just like having different types of people with talent that doesn't mind coming on here and talking about it, and it's so wonderful that you're here and sharing your stories with us. That's awesome.
Yeah, glad to do it. But I had no idea what to expect. I mean, my daughter told me that Mitch had a friend that had. What do you call us, a blog or a vlog or a show or whatever?
Actually, this is a live video and audio show on a radio network for WLFE DB Radio.
Okay.
We are actually video casting and audio casting across several continents. We go all the way over to, they're watching us in India, Ireland, Scotland, Australia, China. I mean, we're all over the place. So we just stream all over.
Yeah, so, that's really cool. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I love it. So, I do it 3 nights a week.
Ah.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. But so let's talk about some magic. I mean, so you started out with a book that your brother got from a library that you stole from him and read, more or less. Yep. And so I guess you started out with the nickel trick, right?
Yep.
What was, I mean, going through your years of doing magic, I mean, what was one of your favorites?
Oh, let's see. Right now, another coin trick that we do, where I go to the audience and collect coins from people. Pick coins out of their hair, out of their ears, and whatever, behind their ears with $50, and collect them in a can. That I've been doing since I was a little kid. I still do it today, exactly the same way as I've always done it. And I try to always open with it when we do a show because people like it. They love tricks with money, of course,
Right.
you know, and it involves the audience. It helps me get to know them because I walk out whenever possible, walk out in the audience and right up close with them and talk to the people while this is going on. And that's still one of my favorites.
That's a
I
trick.
shouldn't say so, but it's easy to do and it's fun to do, and I get a kick out of it. Another one is there's another one that we've been doing for several years now, it was always considered the epitome of bad taste, but it all depends on how it's done. It's known to magicians as the bra trick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
We're
What
a rated
happens
R
is,
show, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm just. When you said bra trick, it just ran through my head. I'm just like, uh-oh.
yeah, I said magicians always looked at it as the epitome of bad taste, but it's all in how you do it. Where we live down here in South Texas, in the wintertime, we do shows for the winter Texans, the snowbirds that come down here from up north to get into the nice weather.
Right.
And from our house down to if you follow the highway down to the Gulf of Mexico in Brownsville, there's more than 200 of these RV parks. So we do shows for them in the wintertime, and they're mostly senior citizens, because they're retired people. At these parks, you usually have to be 55 or older to live there. Anyway, we do shows for them, and the bra trick is murder. Now, there's places where it might not go over so well, but what happens is I tell the audience that there's a lady magician that lives here in your park. You didn't know this, but she's a world-famous lady magician. I talked to her for an hour on the phone last night, and I've convinced her to show you her signature magic trick. It's known as the vanishing knot trick. So I'll get a lady from the audience. I can tell somebody who's been having fun out there, laughing at the jokes and enjoying the show, and bring her up on the stage, and she's surprised because she didn't know she was going to be the lady magician that night. So there she's having fun. And my wife brings out a pair of scarves. I tie the scarves in a knot. Well, first I tie one scarf, tie that in a knot. She holds the scarf and makes the knot disappear, which is, I do it, but she thinks she's made the knot disappear. Okay. This happens a couple times. So then I say, do you want to show them your double vanishing knot trick? So then my wife brings out a pair of scarves. I tie those in a knot. That's a legit knot, and the lady can see it. She can tug on the ends and know it's a real knot. And I say the knot has to have some privacy in order to vanish. So I'll pull the top of her sweater or her blouse and just tuck the knot right down inside. And now she's giggling, and the audience is giggling. So I hold one of the scarves. My wife holds the other scarf, one on each side of the lady, the volunteer. And I tell her that she's got to do the magic words. The magic words are ding, ding, and they laugh again. It sounds ridiculous, believe me, but it
Right.
kills it. On the count of three, she does the magic word. My wife and I pull on the scarves, and the knot doesn't disappear. Instead, what happens is we pull the scarves apart, and there's a bra tied in between them. And it sounds ridiculous. It's bad taste, but people scream. I have a video of a 3-minute long laugh. Our daughter was working with us. She still works with us sometimes, but my daughter was there. She had a camera. And I says, video the audience because I want people to see how this goes over. And I mean, they scream. We use it other places too. And we're careful. I mean, we don't do it with kids.
Right. Right.
But it's a favorite trick because, as the saying goes, it packs small and plays big. It'll fit in my shirt pocket, all the props. And it gives us a good 6 or 8 minute routine. And they scream. I mean, I can't exaggerate the amount of laughter we get out of that. But that's a favorite trick. We also have
awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I
say
love
the
it.
epitome of bad taste. But times have changed too,
Well,
Um,
believe it or not, I had another magician on. In fact, he just popped in on the other thing. He's a bubble magician. He
Bubble
knows some of the
musician.
other sleight of hand stuff as well. His name is Riverberry, and I had him on the show a few weeks ago.
Ah,
Fantastic. Does a lot of really cool things with bubbles and all that stuff. But I love magicians. I love magic. Um, that's probably one of the other favorite things that I like in this world. That you know, anything that makes people feel good, or happy, or takes them away from the troubles in their life, like
yep.
magic does. Magic and music and circuses and all that good stuff. I mean, I still believe in tickling people because once you start tickling them, they start laughing. They forget about everything for a minute,
Yeah,
and
right,
it makes them
right.
feel so good. And people go, "Why do you tickle people?" Think about what happens when you tickle somebody, you know? And it just takes them away for a minute. They didn't worry about whatever stressful situation that they have going on for at least a minute or two. And it's
Yeah,
almost like that little bit of peace for them, which was, and if I can do that for somebody, I'll do it. So Ruth Such is
yeah.
on here and
Well,
she says, hello, Teddy, and hello, Pat.
who's that?
Um, Ruth Such, she says, hello.
Well, hello, Ruth.
There you go.
Yeah, glad she's here.
Yeah, and me too.
Yeah.
So, magic acts. I mean, have you found some have been really difficult to pull off?
As far as to learn, you mean,
Yeah, to
magic?
learn, and then you think you've got it, and then you're just like, nope, it isn't gonna work,
Well,
or
the hard part for me, the hard stuff, I do some card tricks, some close-up card tricks, a little bit,
hmm
but nothing complicated. I watch some magicians and watch some of their videos and where they explain some of this stuff. There's a guy named Bill Malone, fantastic with cards. This guy, and he's got a series of videos out, and he explains a lot of his sleights and skills that he uses to accomplish some of his card stuff. It's impossible. I don't know how this guy does this stuff.
mm,
So some of those things I'll watch a video lesson like that and I'll try it. But if I got to spend months and months learning it, it's like, well, I'll do something simpler that I know is going to get a good audience reaction and get some laughs, and that I know I can do without blowing it.
right.
For example, or the famous. I don't know if you can see that. Is that on? Does that show up at all?
Oh, you'll have to go a little higher.
The card flourish.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yes, I can do that. And this is, I try to get a laugh with this too. I'll say this is, well, you'd appreciate this. This is magician's impersonation of Niagara Falls. Okay,
Yep.
and here's Niagara Falls from the Canadian side, and then here's Niagara Falls in January. There you go. So, but that's as close as I'll get to trying to do serious manipulation. Most of the things I do are simple, but I try to make them personable with the audience appeal to make them. Because if it's not entertaining, what's the point? At the magician
Right.
conventions or the juggler conventions, the same thing. You see these jugglers. There's the International Jugglers Association, and they'll have conventions where they do this incredible stuff, juggling 8 or 10 balls, 8 or 10 the rings. I mean, amazing things. But the jugglers appreciate it. But
Right.
the most entertaining juggler that I know of juggles 3 balls, 3 cigar boxes, and 3 top hats. And he's
All at the same
just
time?
no. That's
Oh,
his
okay.
routine. He opens with a 3 ball routine,
I was
and
like,
then he
wait a
does
minute,
a
that's an awful lot.
yeah. That would be. But he's a 3 object juggler, and he's so entertaining. He's the same age I am. I've been working just as long. And his dad, he does the same act that his dad did years ago. His name is Chris Cramo. He's from Switzerland. And
Whoa.
his entire act goes in a small suitcase, and he's very entertaining, very skillful. But he has the audience appeal. Jugglers appreciate what he's doing, but
Right.
audiences love this guy. And to me, I mean, if you want to juggle just for the jugglers, that's great. Then you have to have some real skills. But if you want to entertain with it and do it for a living, you have to be able to please the audience. And so, like
Yeah.
I told my daughter, does a hula hoop act. And we talk about this stuff. And I told her, I says, look, if the audience likes you and they applaud, and if you're doing jokes, if they laugh, you have accomplished the end. You are a success. That is what you're
Right.
supposed to be doing. Yeah, forget the the finger flicking and the hard stuff. If it's not entertaining, then you're just entertaining yourself, basically.
Right, right. But it's I remember as a kid. Now Eric Harrison here, he's on here, just popped on and said hello to Teddy and hello to Pat. So we have another gentleman that's popped in.
Hello to Eric.
And oh, someone here put no chainsaws. No chainsaws. That's heavy. That's
No,
you gotta be.
I got 10 fingers.
And he's
I
planning on
use all
keeping
10.
them.
I need them. Yep. Yeah.
But anyway,
Besides, they're heavy.
they're heavy. One of my favorite things, like when you were watching the comedy shows on TV when I was younger, was the plate spinning.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that except on TV. I don't know anybody that ever does that stuff anymore.
Yeah, we do that. I'll tell you, at the park that we work at in the summertime, we've been there 22 years, as I've said, and about 8 or 10 years ago, I thought, well, we should start. We try to vary our show a little bit because a lot of the same people come there. But several years ago, I said nobody's doing plate spinning, so we put together the plate spinning, and now it's like a feature of our show there, and a feature wherever we go.
That's awesome.
I'm getting up in years, so some of the physical skills. How can I don't want to say I'm wearing out, but some of the physical skills are getting harder to do.
Right.
And,
right.
So the plate spinning, the physical skill there is selling it and making it a fun act to watch. But it's easier than some of the unicycle stuff that we used to do.
Right.
But yeah, we've been doing the plate spinning. I love the plate spinning.
Yeah, there's just so many things that with like and I call it old magic because it's like you don't see it anymore. But like today, I think it was last year actually, I was at a convention. I do a lot of different types of sci-fi, horror, and paranormal conventions and stuff. And there was a gentleman there that was an oddity. He does oddity shows. And it was stuff like putting pins through his nose and his cheeks, and people are they're eating that stuff up. Oh man, that's crazy. I mean, he was for I think it was $50 or $25. You could take a staple gun and staple them, and I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, really. Yeah. Now my nephew does that. I got a nephew who is a character, and he likes that sideshow stuff. In fact, for a while, he was in a show on the Strip in Las Vegas called The Freak Show, and he was what was his? He was a bizarre clown. What did he call himself? I can't think of it now. But he did that. So he was the MC of the show. They had a dwarf lady that walked on a bed of broken glass, and it's Las Vegas, so of course she did it topless. They had a sword swallower. And my nephew he was the MC, and he did I wish I could think of his name, the clown name, but he did the stapling, he was MCing using note cards, recipe cards.
Right.
As he finished each one, he would have somebody from the audience, he would hold the card up to his forehead, and somebody from the audience would staple it on his head. So, that's not for me, but my nephew is a character.
No way. I mean, no.
People love to watch that stuff. They love to watch it.
They can watch all they want, but somebody like me isn't doing it.
No, me neither.
No way. No, that's crazy talk. That's no way. I couldn't do it. No, I mean, there's like America's Got Talent always has a lot of magicians, and who was that? Penn and Teller used to do a TV show, I think.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Penn
and Teller. Yeah, here's these guys. They're outrageous. It's Penn and Teller's Fool Us, so they call it Penn and Teller's FU. That's what they call it.
Well, I love watching that stuff on TV, and the circus is definitely. I wish we had a circus that came through, because I would love to take my nieces and nephews to it, because I think it's an experience that, the magic, the clowns, the animals, just the whole thing about a circus is, it's one of those things everybody should experience at least once, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but magic is just, I just love magic. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
would
do
love to
too.
make my
Yeah.
belly disappear. Um,
Forget the beer trick then. Don't work on the beer trick. That won't help.
yes, Tom, if you want your belly to disappear, get rid of the beer.
But when things normalize eventually, if the circus comes through your town up there, guaranteed I'll know somebody there. Let me know. We'll make sure you get to go see. You got a family, Ted?
Actually, I actually moved in with my parents to take care of them, because they're in their 80s, and they both have onset dementia and
Oh, yeah.
Alzheimer's, and neither one of them
Yeah.
can walk very well. I've just spent a week and a half to doctor's visits, like back and forth every day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's that. I do not have a family. I'm here with them. Yeah.
But if you want to go if the circus comes through there and you want to see it, you know how to find me, and we
Yep.
can set it up so you can go. Certainly, yeah. And
You
I sympathize with the dementia. My dad went through that before we lost him, so I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. It doesn't get any better,
No.
fortunately.
Now, Ruth Such is on here, and she says we go to Nobles Grove in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania, every year, and they have a magic act where they do plate spinning, juggling, and it's pretty good. She said.
That's me. That's me. That's the park where we work every summer. Yeah, they say Knobles. They pronounce it's German. They pronounce the hard K, Knobles
Oh,
Park. But yeah,
Knobles. Oh,
20.
well,
This
that's
will be
it.
our
So,
22nd year. This will be our
wow.
22nd year. I'm glad.
So
I'm
Ruth,
glad
you were
Ruth
watching
goes.
Pat.
Yeah, Ruth. We're not there yet. We're supposed to be there already, but we're not. We're waiting for Buddy Knoble to call us and say, okay, the park can open and we can have the entertainment. If, when we're there, you show up. Please come and say hello, will you? Because this place has a spot in our heart like nowhere you can imagine. Knobles Park, number one. Number one.
There you go, Ruth. No,
Yeah,
if you go and you see it, you can go right up and talk to Pat and
yeah.
tell him
Ruth
you
can
saw
tell
him
you.
on the show.
Ruth can tell you. It's a major theme park. Been there since 1925. Still owned by the same family. Free parking, free
Wow.
admission, free entertainment,
Wow.
worldwide award-winning food amongst the worldwide amusement park food competition. They come out number one almost every year, and reasonable ticket prices. Uh, it's up in the mountains, up in the shade. You want to have a picnic? You bring in your picnic. They got tables for you. If your
Wow.
company wants to have a company picnic there, well, then they'll cater it for you. But I mean, it's a wonderful place. Ruth can tell you,
Wow.
it's a wonderful place. No
Yeah,
place
so
like
there
it.
you go, Ruth. There you go.
Yeah,
Tom Nally was just adding, he lives in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So
yeah.
he was wondering if that's up near Erie, he said.
It's no, it's near Bloomsburg. If you know where Bloomsburg is on I-80.
Bloomsburg. Bloomsburg,
Yeah,
Tom.
it's kind of east central, and it's just south of Interstate 80. The town is Elysburg, which the town is just a crossroads with a couple of fast food places and a gas station. That wouldn't be there if Knobles Park wasn't there. It's up in the mountains. It's a beautiful place. But yeah,
Mm.
off of I-80, it takes you about 10 or 15 minutes to drive down there from I-80. If you're at Hershey Park, it's about 100 or 125 miles north of Hershey.
And he says, yeah, I know Bloomsburg. Can you see that?
There you go. Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, it's close to Bloomsburg.
Eric Harrison said he was going back to the stapling thing. He said head would be a no, bleeds way too much. LOL, arms, legs, and chest are okay though.
All right. I'll take
We'll
his
take
word
your
for it. I'm
word.
not going to try.
I was thinking the same thing. That's awesome.
And
That's
how does Eric
awesome.
know that? That's what I'm wondering now.
Eric actually, he belongs to several different types of groups. He does the haunted, he does the haunts and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's actually, we both are. We're friends with some horror clowns that do the sideshows. I'm
Oh,
friends with the Dead City Collective, and they have sword swallowers, flame eaters. They have all that stuff.
oh, good, good, good. Yeah,
Yeah,
people like that stuff, and I'm glad there's people that are keeping up doing it.
yeah. Tom says not far from Poconos, I guess is what he means here.
I
Not
believe
far
that's
from
true.
Poconos.
Yeah, yes. Scranton is Poconos, isn't it? Is it Scranton? It's about an hour
Hmm.
and 50 minutes from Scranton. It's a.
See,
I think they describe their location as being the on the foothills of the Appalachians, but it's the Poconos
okay.
is just a short drive away. Yeah.
I get down to Pennsylvania once a year, and I usually go to Gettysburg. I'm down there for a big convention at the end of July every year,
Ah,
and that's about as far as I go as in Pennsylvania. But I have a brother in Kentucky. I've Pe- Tennessee. I have a lot of friends. Nashville, been there several times. Stayed there. Yeah, Eric did say, he says I do haunts, and a big fan of sideshow stuff. He says.
good, good, good.
And Ruth comes back with a comment saying, I'll be heading up there next month to camp. There, hopefully, we'll get to see you, Pat.
I hope so. I hope we're back up there working by then. We were supposed to open June 10th, but because of the pandemic
COVID thing,
problems,
yeah.
the campground's open, but the park is just slowly getting open. So, yeah,
Yeah, so
Ruth,
Ruth,
come and
don't
say
forget,
hi.
make sure you get up and say hi to him.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be great. Yeah. So, you've worked in, I was reading your bio, and you have worked with, oh my God, you've been all over in a dozen countries around the world, entertaining small and large crowds.
Yep.
Um, let's see. Oh, you married your pen pal?
Yeah, from the Philippines. Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing. In
Yeah.
1994.
Now this gal, she had
That's
never seen
amazing.
a show before. Shows would come to her town. She lived in Toledo City in the Philippines on the island of Cebu, a major seaport there. But her dad was a rough character, and there was going to be he had 10 kids, most of them girls. So no girls are going out after dark to see some shows. Oh, you're in the
Ooh.
house. And he's taking attendance at bedtime. So she'd never seen a live show.
Hmm.
So we wrote letters back and forth for 2 years. And I sent her pictures, and there was no video. We were writing letters
Right.
before internet. There wasn't any
Right.
internet, but I sent her pictures and postcards and letters and stuff. And we talked on the phone, I think, 4 times over that 2-year period because her family didn't have a phone. But she came over here, and she knew what she was getting into to some extent. Going to live in a motorhome and travel around the country, but she didn't want to be a performer. But working up there in Pennsylvania with some Pennsylvania friends of ours, magicians, uh, they told my wife, Tess is her name, and they said, you are going to be in the show today. So they had her put on some makeup, and they said, all you got to do is I juggle top hats. And they said, you just have to carry these top hats out to your husband. That's all you got to do. Well, that was the start of it. Now, she's fantastic. She is and I say so sincerely. She got a smile that's, if she was smiling in here, you could see her up there.
I
Got this
see her
big,
picture.
beautiful smile.
She's beautiful.
Thank you. She is. And
Yes.
excellent showgirl, excellent assistant. Even that's on stage and off, because off stage, she's the one that loads the car while the show is going on. If we have to leave, she's packing the props, and when the show is over, she's loading them in the car. I'm standing around like talking to people and twiddling my thumbs while she gets all the work done. Plus, she's a fantastic cook. But she's a super showgirl. Super showgirl. That she presents our actor. Ruth could probably tell you that my wife is just spectacular on stage. So
Yeah,
it
and I
was
see that your daughter Maybelle is in the show as well. She
yes,
was the youngest mini bicyclist, or what do they call it? The unicycle.
the unicycle.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. When she was 3
Wow.
years old, my mom and dad gave her a unicycle for her birthday, and it took 6 months to learn. And at age 4, on her 4th birthday, she started working in the show, riding her unicycle. At that time, yeah, she was the world's youngest performing unicyclist, and she still
Wow.
she went to New York. We homeschooled her up through high school, and then she spent 2 years in New York City, going to a musical theaters college over there. She graduated from there 2 years ago. Right now, um, she is in Hershey, Pennsylvania, working at Chocolate World. She's in a show in Chocolate World. Now the show is temporarily closed, so she's got another job there with Hershey. They're keeping her busy until the show reopens. But that's
Right.
what she's doing now. She's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, at Chocolate World, and she does a hula hoop act. It's a very, very nice hula hoop act, very world class. And she was on when she was 8 years old. I got a call from an agent in Las Vegas, and he says, "I want to book you on the Steve Harvey show. Steve Harvey's Big Time." So,
Yeah.
okay. So my daughter and I did the unicycle act together. So they fly us out to Hollywood to do the Steve Harvey Big Time show. And during the camera rehearsal, Steve Harvey is there watching. And while we're doing the camera rehearsal, the producer of the show says, "I don't think we need Dad up there." And Steve Harvey says, "Well, yeah, you got to have Dad." And the producer says, "No, we're just going to have the little girl." So, okay. So that was fine with me. So they just, our daughter worked, she did a segment. It's on our website there. If you have to search
Yeah.
for it to find it. But she did a segment where
Yeah.
she rode her unicycle blindfold through an obstacle course. And Steve Harvey was scared to death. He was afraid she was going to ride off the edge of the stage. He's chasing her, and I didn't want to touch her because that would look bad. But he's
Right.
following her around the stage while she's on a unicycle. He said, "You're blindfolded. You're blindfolded. Watch where you're going." He was frightened. But it was a very successful appearance, and she was very proud to have been on Steve Harvey when she was 8 years old. That was a very positive experience. the whole
That's
thing.
cool. Now I am seeing here that you worked on Bozo's Circus.
Yeah, about a dozen times. Yeah, on
Wow.
WGN TV out of Chicago.
Yeah. Bozo the Clown,
Yeah.
right?
Bozo the Clown. Yeah, the real guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Bozo.
Really?
Yeah, that. Yes. Yes, I
That
remember Bozo.
It was great. It didn't pay a lot of money. It paid okay, but the thing was, if you were going through Chicago, they gave you a place to park your motorhome or your trailer at the studio, electric and water. They'd feed you in the commissary, and you do the show. And it was done by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you're on your own, free time in Chicago. If you did 2 acts or 3 acts, they would keep you there for 2 days or 3 days, and then the money was great, and it was just a real nice thing to do. And anytime you're going through Chicago,
Wow.
because they had to use acts every day, on 5 days a week. They went through a lot of acts. So if you were going through Chicago, you were going to do the Bozo show. It was a nice thing to do.
Nick Moulet is up here, and he says, "What?" He goes, "Bozo's Circus. That's awesome. I'm from Chicago myself," he says.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah. They told me, my aunt and uncle live in Chicago, or at the time they did. The uncle's gone, my aunt is still there, but they told me at that time that if you wanted to have your kid in the studio audience there, you had to apply for tickets when your child was born, because they had, I forget how many kids were in the audience there, but there was limited seating.
Right.
And by the time your kid was 6 or 8 years old, they'd have a room for you, and you'd be on the list and get to
Yeah,
go
what
sit
was
in
it,
the
like-
studio audience.
It was just some small stands. I mean, what was there? Maybe 20, 30 kids, I think.
Yeah, not very
At a
many.
time?
Two or three rows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and their mom and dad would be there too with them. The family audience.
Yeah. Tom says on the Bozo show, didn't they do a game sometimes that had to do with throwing balls into different colored buckets? I think they
Yes.
did.
That they did. It was the grand prize game.
Yes.
The ringmaster Ned had this big voice, and that was it. The grand prize game. And I always told you, when they opened the show, they panned the audience, and they'd show here's Bozo, and here's Cookie the clown, and then maybe a guest. They'd show the acts. Then they would pan the camera across the audience, and a cast of thousands. It was just great. It was great. Yeah, the grand prize game. Yeah, they'd have to throw the ping pong ball into a bucket. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Nick says, sadly, I never got to go to the show since I was born in 1993, but I've had a number of family members who got to meet him and the rest of his crew. Been a favorite throughout my family. He says,
That's good.
had at least 2 that got to appear on the show in the 80s.
Wow. Yeah. Well, they missed me then because the last time I was there was 70. No, I was there in 81. I was there, did one spot in 81. Otherwise, in the mid 70s and late 70s.
Yeah. Tom was just saying that because he was talking about the Bozo show. He goes, man, did I just show my age or what?
Oh, yeah. Well, I recently turned 65 and even more recently turned 69. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, you're still working. You're still doing it at that age. God bless you, you know?
Yeah, right.
All right. So, guys, for anybody that's just showing up now, I just want to tell you that we were talking with Pat Davison. His website is www.supercomedyshow.com. Please feel free to go on over there, check him out, check out his beautiful family. They're all involved in the acts that they do. Pat has got some. He has worked some fantastic places. In fact, I'm going to bring something up that's on your website here. Yeah. Rocky the Mind-Reading Raccoon.
Oh,
and then it says
yes.
in quotations, yes, a mind-reading raccoon.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Rocky.
Rocky is he's a puppet. I'll be honest, he's a puppet.
Okay.
And he's another one that gets a good audience reaction. It's about a 10-minute routine. It can be longer depending on the audience response. We're doing shows in Branson, Missouri, and I always bring Rocky out into the audience to meet people. And he's a puppet, you know, and they know he's a puppet. It doesn't matter. He's a fuzzy little puppet, and I make him move so he looks alive. And I'll bring him out into the audience, and he'll let people pet him a little bit. And I always look for some lady who looks excitable, and I'll make Rocky jump out of my arms and land on her. And in Branson, Missouri, this poor woman literally left her seat, threw her popcorn and her cup of soda pop up in the air, screaming. And I thought, man, I know I'm in trouble. Here's a lawsuit waiting to happen. So intermission time, I went out and talked to the lady, and she was thrilled. She says, that was so much fun. She says, I'm a jumpy kind of person anyway. Well, yeah, that was an understatement. I got her another glass of pop to replace what she lost, but Rocky does get that kind of reaction, and he reads somebody's mind. He predicts the future, and we get someone from the audience. So he reads somebody's mind while they're in the audience. Then I bring a volunteer up, and he reads their mind while they're up on stage. And it's a comedy routine. What I'm waiting for, a few years ago, well, in fact, ongoing, circuses especially, and even magicians now, they have to put up with animal rights activists.
Right.
And don't get me started on that. But magicians a few years ago were being pestered because they would come to, if they saw a magic show advertised somewhere, they'd come see if you had a rabbit or a dove, and how are you treating them? You know, I can't wait for somebody to show up at my show and complain about Rocky the mind-reading raccoon and want to see his cage and everything else. I'll do my best to embarrass them and make them feel an inch tall.
That's awesome.
Rocky's popular. He's fun to do. I've been doing him for about probably 10 or 12 years now. And he's in every show.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, your daughter and your wife both do the hula hoop?
No, just our daughter. Our daughter does the hula hoop. She learned that in Branson. The show we were in Branson was the Comedy Pet Theater, and they had a house pets that did acts. They had a dog act, they had a house cat act, they had a bird act, and we were the comedy part. It was the Comedy Pet Theater. The animal acts did the pet part. We did the comedy part. We did unicycle, juggling, balancing act, and I emceed the show. And our daughter had very little to do during the show. She was part of the unicycle act, but that was 5 minutes, and she had the rest of her time to herself in the dressing room. Unbeknownst to us, she's in the dressing room teaching herself this hula hoop act.
Wow.
And when our run in Branson finished, we went up to Knoebels Park, and we were talking about what we do in the show up there, and our daughter says, I want to do my hula hoop act. And my wife and I said, what are you talking about? She said, here, I'll show you. So she showed us the hula hoop act that she taught herself in the dressing room. And it's progressed now. My wife helped her then with some blocking and with some movement. And it's progressed now where the last place she worked there with us was at a major magicians convention. There's two magicians organizations that are major. There's the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and there's the Society of American Magicians. There's some overlap in membership, but then there's people that only belong to one or the other. They each have their annual convention separately, and every now and then they combine and have a combined convention. So three years ago, yes, in 2017, they had their combined convention in Louisville, Kentucky. And our daughter was hired we did our plate spinning act, and Mabel did her hula hoop act. And in the audience was Lance Burton. Some people don't know Lance Burton, but he was a well-known international magician. He was there. Matt King, who's a big comedy magician in Las Vegas for years. And a lot of celebrities there. And consequently, our daughter is now, she got a standing ovation. I'm sitting here bragging. I can't help it. But she got a standing ovation with her hula hoops. Now she's friends on Facebook with these magicians that liked her show, liked her act. But she's a talented young lady and a nice girl.
You got to be proud. You got to be a proud father. Got to be proud.
I am.
You got to be proud. Now, I kind of want to bring this up because I think this is very cool. Now, you also, it says that you do school assembly programs as well?
Yes. Yep. When we're home in the wintertime, especially, we do motivational programs. Now, for years, I turned down school assembly programs.
Okay.
My daughter came along when I was 45. So as a younger performer, I didn't want to do school assemblies. I would turn them down because kids, if they don't like you, they'll tear you apart. You know, they can be a real tough audience. So I turned them down. Well, then my daughter got to be 5 years old, and now I knew how to talk to kids. So
Yep.
She taught me a lot. So we book a lot of school assembly programs, especially in the wintertime when we're home here in South Texas. It's one of our major sources of income because they pay well. They're close to home. We go out and do 2 school assemblies in the morning, and we're back home for lunchtime. The day is ours. We do a motivational message. We always include the message of perseverance, never giving up. Right. They see the juggling, they see the unicycle. If our daughter's there, they see the hula hoops, and we tell them, you can learn to do this. Anything you see here, you can learn to do it if you don't give up. And that applies to your studies. Down here, we tell them it applies when you're trying to learn English. It applies to your English. It applies to your geography, history, whatever you're studying in school. If you don't give up, you can learn anything. And,
right. I mean, this is. I was going to read this if you don't mind. I'd like to read this. It says,
do what you want.
The emphasis is on perseverance and never giving up, encouraging students to anticipate improvements in areas in which they are working as long as they don't quit. The principle is applied to both mental and physical skills. We illustrate with obvious examples such as learning to walk and talk. One is born with the ability to ambulate or speak, and fixed mindset would prevent an individual from ever developing either skills. So the growth mindset occurs naturally and subconsciously in a youngster as they grow and mature. As they grow up, this mindset needs to be nurtured by the child's parents and hopefully by their teachers at school. The dangers is that peer pressure and situations such as bullying at school or on playgrounds can stifle the growth mindset, which is absolutely correct. I may require an occasional, resuscitation to encourage what may have become a latent growth mindset in order for the student that can move on and grow. This is great stuff here. It says, by contrast, the growth mindset, when applied consistently, results in the ability to perfect those basic human skills. We then demonstrate how the principle of growth mindset is essential to learning and eventually mastering circus skills such as juggling and unicycling. The visual and comical nature of comedy, magic, and juggling makes the presentation memorable and effective. Some tasteful audience participation can also further illustrate the effectiveness of growth mindset. This is awesome. I commend you on this. This is fantastic because it's one of those things in school that people. I don't think parents understand that when your child goes to school, they don't see and hear what happens there. They only rely on what the teacher writes in their daily journal or what they send home in a note or whatever. Bullying is a big problem. And even though in America we've had a lot of awareness, it still happens all the time. And, that can hinder a child's growth in any way, shape, or form.
That's right.
So teaching them how to persevere and to never give up and to keep fighting forward and learning some of these other little skills like juggling or unicycling or magic or anything like that's a great way of doing it, and it's fun for them. So it turns that into, like excitability where they want to do it. It's a great thing. I love that. I just love it.
Yeah, well, it's good for them. It's good. You get that sense of when you learn to do a juggling trick, you have a sense of accomplishment, like you've done something, you've improved a little bit. Something you couldn't do before, you can do it now. It's good for the brain.
Well, it's awesome. Tom Naley says, remember Doug Henning, it's magic.
Yeah, illusion. Yeah, right.
Tom Naley actually does Tom's World, and it's where he goes out and he ventures into places that get forgotten, like old buildings, parks, stuff like that. He's got a great little YouTube going. It's awesome. And the reason I brought that up is because Nick was just saying to Tom, he says, Tom, you should add magic for your world. Make it a special episode. This is Tom's Magic World. Nick also replies saying, truly, indeed, Ted, had bullying occurred throughout my childhood, though most of the time it was more by staff members than other kids. Wow, that's amazing.
No, that can happen. My older brother is left-handed, and he was in grade school, in second grade, I believe, at a time when that was still... they didn't want you to do that. They thought that everybody should be right-handed, right?
Right.
So the teacher was bullying my brother about being left-handed, and she made him stand up in front of the class. She says, now point to your head. Okay. Now spell the abbreviation for mountain. MT.
Oh, man.
That's bullying for a kid.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah.
I did one an in-service session for a school district down here in Edinburgh, Texas. They were having an in-service session for their school volunteers, and I pointed that out because I did the same thing, same show, same presentation that we do for the school kids. But I told them when we're doing these programs for kids, we emphasize perseverance, but it's important for you too, because you got to remember to stick with these kids, because they'll remember things that happened to them when they were kids, both the good and the bad. And you got to remember, if you got a kid that is a little problem, you don't want to give up on trying to reach them, and making a good impression on them. I remember things that are bad that happened to me too when I was in grade school. My handwriting was bad, and the teacher was making fun of me. Well, that ain't good. That ain't good.
Yeah, no. Nick was just saying that with the bullying that he had, he says it later led me to create a documentary about bullying by the time I was near the end of my high school. And he says it was definitely far worse than the other kids, meaning the staff members. Part of the reason was due that the fact that he has autism. So it was something that he had to, endure. But I will tell you this, Nick, with so many things, like I have certain things, my beliefs and what I do and who I am, there's always somebody. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. There's always somebody that's going to bully you. But if you can learn to get around that, push through it, you're a far better person than they are. So kudos to you. That's awesome.
That's it. Well, yeah. In fact, I got bullied in the circus when I was first starting out. It was, and I remember when it was. In 1973, at the Shrine Circus in Dayton, Ohio, and there was a big cast, a huge show, and there was some people there. There was one couple there that I had known before, other jugglers, and we were very good friends. The other people there didn't know me; they hadn't seen me before, and these other people they had these backgrounds where they were third, fourth, fifth generation circus, and that can be a good or a bad thing.
They're like the new kid on the block, so you were going to get,
Yeah. And this one guy, he turned to me, and he'd been in the circus for a long time, for generations, and he says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And my friends that I knew there, and he was going to pursue this, my friends that I already knew, this juggling couple from Germany, they said, "Oh, you don't know Pat? You should know Pat." And she introduced us. The thing is, those people with that attitude, for better or worse, all of them are either retired or dead. I'm still here, still out there doing it. I'm a dinosaur, but still doing it. The bullying can happen to you anywhere, and it's that's a bad.
And I still believe it. I mean, once you can, if you can put the bully in his place or her place, or you can learn to grow past all of that, then you're a better person. I mean, you
That's
can't,
right.
You can't let bullies win. I mean, that's just
right.
You can't let them win.
You overcome that, you overcome a major obstacle. That's a good thing.
Right. That's awesome. Hello, Chanel Fletcher. Even though you're late, young lady, hello.
Did she bring a note? She's late?
Did she bring a note? Did you bring a note, Chanel? Because she did say, she said, I missed the whole show, but I promise I will watch it after.
Okay.
Well, we're expecting that, and I want a 5-page report.
That's right. In triplicate, yes.
There you go, in triplicate. Tom just gave her hell, too. Tom is like, "That is inexcusable, young lady. You are now on Ted's list of those he is going to put over his knee." Laugh my ass off. Oh, that's funny. I am really impressed. I mean, you have done a lot, and I love the fact that you came here tonight to talk with us about this stuff. I am very happy, very, very happy we got to speak. It's
me too.
I love this. This is amazing, and where you have gone and done, you have touched so many people's lives with making them laugh, making them feel better about their lives, just even for an hour, 10 minutes. I mean, you are an entertainer, sir. That is fantastic.
So.
You should be very proud of yourself and all that. Yeah. And that's amazing. I love it. There is a little video on your website of you on the unicycle jumping while your wife is doing the jump rope over you.
Yes, yeah.
That is.
We can still do that. We can still do that.
You can still do that? That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. It's just, I am very impressed with all this stuff that you were able to do. And there is one thing that I'm seeing here. I was going to ask because I'm not sure what she's holding, but it looks like your wife is holding 2 pink things. They're pink. I'm not sure what they are.
Let's see.
They're pink.
Are they fabric, or I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can do this. I can show it to you. Actually, I can bring it right up here.
Oh, you are talented with this stuff.
A little bit, just a little. All right, just take a second here. Where'd it go? Right here. This is great. I'm so happy that you decided to come on here tonight.
Well, me too. Oh, okay. That is the telephone gag.
The telephones? That's cool.
Yeah. They are meant to.
I've never seen pink telephones, but
Yeah, that is an ancient clown gag, and
really,
yeah. And it takes 3 people, so we can only do that when our daughter is with us. But yeah, it's an old clown gag. The clowns, it's called the telephone gag. And the way the clowns do it, they will use anything. Quite often, if they're how do I put this? If they're trying to do something kind of impromptu, and the clown's got to do something quick, they need to fill in a gap. Something happened, the props aren't ready, or whatever, and the clown's got to go out to fill the time. If they have nothing else to do, they'll get a bicycle inner tube. Anything that's stretchy, rubber and stretchy. Okay. So that those telephones you see there, they're foam rubber inside, and they're fastened with a piece of shock cord, bungee cord.
Okay.
And what happens is my daughter comes out with the phone, and she's gonna say it's a new invention. I say, how does it work? So she takes one phone, I take the other one. There's a bit of byplay, and she says, give me the message. And so I end up saying, give me the message. It's the phone message, right? So she lets go of her end of the phone, and it's the elastic makes the phone hit me in the head, right? And it gets a big laugh, okay? The little girl pulled over fast, so I played a joke on Dad, so it gets a laugh. Well, then I tell the kids, we do this with the school assemblies, I tell the kids, I'm going to try this on, I got it backwards. We haven't done this for a while. My wife comes out first, and she does that. So it's a new invention called the telephone. She makes it snap into my head, So then I say, I'm going to fool my daughter. She hasn't seen this, so don't tell anybody what's going to happen. So Mabel, come on out here. I say, this is a telephone. You take this end, I take the other end. And I say, you're going to give me a message. And we go through some byplay that I won't go into all that. But she ends up letting go of the phone. I'm supposed to let go and snap her with the phone. But she's a step ahead of me and snaps me with the phone. That was where we're leading up to. The kids love it because they see the little
work. And you know what that reminds me of is the old Abbott and Costello stuff.
Yeah, right. That's probably where the clowns got it. It's an ancient gag.
Yeah.
But we needed something to do for school assemblies, and I thought, well, this is perfect, and it works great. The teachers laugh; they're all anticipating what's going to happen, and they see it coming, and it gets a good reaction.
Yeah, no, stuff like that is awesome. But there's nothing like making somebody laugh, and feel good about themselves, and I think it's amazing. So.
Yeah, well, look at the movies and comedies. I mean, how many millions of dollars do people spend every year just to go forget their troubles for a short time and laugh?
I'm going to tell you, though, Pat, I am not one of those people that can sit and watch a comedy TV show or a movie and laugh like they expect me to. I don't know what it is. It's like stand-up comedians. I do not laugh at stand-up comedians. I don't know if I'm... Maybe... I don't understand why I don't laugh. I mean, the whole house, where you are, the whole place could be laughing, and I'm kind of going, I didn't find it that funny. And I'm like, is there something wrong with me? I'm like, but yet I could sit down and watch Abbott and Costello and laugh my ass off because of the physical comedy.
Yes.
And I love physical comedy, and the Abbott and Costello by far was my favorite comedy team, the routines that they did. But I can watch my favorite TV thing, and one of my, I don't know, childhood heroes, I guess, was Godzilla. And so there was, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, when Godzilla came out, you knew it was a guy in a rubber suit. But when they had him jumping around and boxing and looks like he was dancing, I would laugh my butt off as a kid. And I think that's what it was, is I enjoy physical comedy more than I do those stupid, comedy, like, I call them stupid, because I watch some of these things that my friends watch, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't think it's funny.
Sitcoms on TV nowadays are that way. I mean, geez. That's why I'm a big fan of the Andy Griffith Show.
Andy Griffith,
I love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, my God, Lucy and Dick Van Dyke. Those two, oh, my God. I could pee my pants laughing at those guys.
Yeah, and you can watch it over and over again and do the same thing. Yeah, my wife and I watch, at night before we go to sleep, we're watching I Love Lucy and Andy Griffith. Our daughter, too. She watches I Love Lucy. I raised her watching Danny Kaye, the Marx Brothers.
Danny Kaye.
Lewis and Martin, or Martin and Lewis, rather. Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. I made sure she got an education on the good stuff,
Love them all.
Some years, 10 years ago, we were working with Big Apple Circus in New York City, and there were some young people there working, college kids, mostly from NYU. And I mentioned the Marx Brothers, and this blank look on their face. Who? They
Yeah.
had never even heard of the Marx Brothers. And I said, now you guys, you're college kids, and you think that you're irreverent, irreverent humor and so on. You have no idea what irreverent humor is until you watch Horse Feathers or Night at the Opera and see the Marx Brothers do this stuff. And Duck Soup. Duck Soup was banned. Hitler banned that in Germany in the 30s.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe hopefully I made some disciples there, because I told you you can find this stuff on TV or the internet. The Marx Brothers, for God's sake.
Amazing stuff. I mean, if you just gave it a chance, and I tell my nieces and nephews this all the time, just take a shot. Just turn it on. If you don't like it after 15, 20 minutes, fine, I won't bug you. But, it's Dean Martin, all those guys. I mean, it's like John Wayne. I used to love his Westerns and stuff, but he had a sense of humor about himself, that you could always catch some of that stuff. Even in his Westerns, he would make a comment, and you're like, you didn't, nobody else is laughing except for me. And I'm like, well, I caught it. It's like, it was dry humor, but, I still caught it.
Sure.
But like Chanel was just saying, she goes, I laugh my ass off at Jeff Dunham and his puppets. I do too. I think Peanut is amazing. I think they're all funny. All that stuff. Oh, stop, Tom Nally. He's like, no, Ted likes Godzilla. I would never known. Well, that's because you follow my show. That's right. They all know I love Godzilla. But yeah, there's just, I wasn't a big Seinfeld. No, Nick, Seinfeld never did anything for me. I didn't find it very funny. But there was other shows like Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, all that stuff. Those older shows like that had a little bit of comedy and everything, and you just, I don't know, I love that stuff. But Abbott and Costello stand out the most for me. I wasn't a big Laurel and Hardy fan, but I did watch their documentary and some of that stuff where, how they lived and all that stuff, and why they quit, which I thought was an interesting movie. But yeah, a comedy has to be like physical. And that Who's on First by Abbott and Costello is like forever. Ever.
Yep. Yeah, classic stuff. Very fun with the glasses on.
Oh, Chanel, you brought up Mork and Mindy. You're talking about Robin Williams. There was nobody, and there still is nobody like Robin Williams.
Especially when it came to extemporaneous. He used to do a routine where he would ask somebody to hand any object from the audience. Didn't matter what it was, a car key, a toothbrush, a scarf, he didn't care. He could do 10 minutes of hilarious stuff off the top of his head.
Off of any object.
He was a genius. He was a genius.
It's too bad that he's not with us anymore.
Yeah, too bad how he ended. And you just wonder what goes on. Somebody like that, so successful, so talented, and so funny.
He said he was depressed. He said he had severe depression, and I think with something like that, God, you got to think that he had no outlet or something wasn't right. Like he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he needed a psychiatrist or something, but who knows? The guy was definitely a genius. Definitely a genius.
He was that. Now you had to be a Three Stooges fan too, I'm sure. Physical comedy.
Three Stooges. There was plenty of those, especially Curly. Curly was my favorite. And then when Shemp showed up, I love Shemp as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Three Stooges were funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Abbott and Costello is definitely my favorite. But
the Abbott Costello, like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. You must have liked that.
Oh yeah. All those. Nick Muley is putting up your Car 54. Where are you? The Addams Family, the Munsters, Brady Bunch, Partridge Family, All in the Family. Oh my God! Don't get me started on All in the Family. Don't get me started there. The Jefferson, Maude. Oh my God, Maude. She was funny. I don't care what anybody says. She's hilarious.
Car 54,
Sanford
where
and
are
Son.
you? Which one?
Sanford and
Oh,
Son,
Sanford and
Good
Son, yeah.
Times. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching Car 54, where are you? We got, last year we got Roku TV, and you can find Car 54, where are you on there. That show was, we used to watch it. I watched it when it was on the air back in the 60s too, but watching it over again now, it's still hilarious. It's just a scream.
Yeah. Comedy is one of those things that we're all born with a funny bone. I really do believe
Yeah.
that. And we all have our moment where we do make funny things happen. And that reminds me of a story. Look at ADD. It was something that I did. I was working at a store, believe it or not, a toy store. I worked for Toys R Us. And I was a department manager, and I was working on not really magic, but I wanted to learn how to throw my voice.
Okay.
And I was practicing for, I don't know, probably a good summer. And I actually did it once successfully. And I scared the shit out of myself when I did it. Because I didn't know if it was going to really work. And when it did, I was so happy. But I freaked myself out. This lady, like, I was throwing my voice to a couple other, like, aisles over to me. I was trying to get my voice to go over there. And this lady come around the corner, and she looked at me, and she goes, "What did you just say?" And I'm like, "You heard that?" She's like, "Yeah." And I lost it. I mean, because I was trying so hard to learn how to do it, because I think that is a crazy talent. Crazy talent. You know? I don't think anybody does that anymore either.
No, closest thing to it is a ventriloquist. You know,
Yeah.
Jeff Dunham. Is Jeff Dunham the one that has the terrorist?
Yes.
Figure?
Ahmed.
Yeah.
kill
Ahmed, the
you.
dead terrorist. Yeah.
I kill you. Yep.
Yeah. Love that.
Oh my God, Tom, really? Tom Nally says, I'll put it up here so you can see it. He says, he goes, Ted said, that reminds me of a story. Immediately in my head, I heard, here's a story of a lovely lady. Oh, Nick, you're crazy. That's awesome. The Honeymooners were awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Art
They
Carney.
don't make movies like that anymore. Oh, Art Carney was amazing, but
Yeah.
Crampton there. What was his real name?
Jackie Gleason.
Jackie Gleason. Oh my God.
Yeah, talk about amazing. Yeah, because he was this guy. If he never said a word, his facial expressions had told you everything that was going on in his mind. He was
body language.
He was a
for
genius.
that guy. Oh, and you know what? He was an exception to the rule, because back then, and even still today, if you're in pictures and in movies, they're always looking for the thinnest, the best looking people. They don't want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You always had to be within this thing, and he never fit that. And but it's amazing. Like when he played on Smokey and the Bandit. What an amazing job for him. That was that role was built for him.
Yeah. Yep.
It was
The sheriff.
perfect.
Yeah. I read
Nick,
that he hated to rehearse.
Yeah.
And he would rather be on the golf course. And but he could read through the script one time, and he had it. So he'd be out on the golf course, time to come in and tape the show, and it's his phrase before they started was, "It's every man for himself," and you better keep up. You better keep up.
You know who? And I don't think he's alive. I think he's dead now. But one of my favorite, and I don't know how many movies I've seen of his, but it's making me think that I need to start looking. Dom DeLuise.
Oh yeah. Also very funny. Very funny.
That guy was very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was a hell of a chef. Most people didn't even know that that's what he really was.
He was. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an actual chef. Yep. Amazing.
Google of Dom DeLuise. I'll bet he's left us.
Yeah, I think he has, because his two sons played in a show called Something 21. What the hell was it called?
Yeah, we lost him in 2009.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Nally just said that too. He was an amazing character. God, it seems like
Another
all
one,
those are gone. All the good ones are gone.
yeah,
You
Jonathan
know?
Winters was another one. Remember
Oh my
Jonathan
God,
Winters?
he was amazing.
Yeah. He was a
um,
certified mental case, but they didn't
yeah.
care. It made him funny.
Who played Pockets? Red Button. Red Button. Um,
Yeah.
oh, he was hilarious. Great dancer, performer.
Yeah.
Um, fantastic. Yes, thank you, Tom. It was 21 Jump Street that his kids played on. Dom DeLuise's
Wow.
kids. Yep, exactly. Wow, Tom, you're quick.
Yeah, you got some real TV fans there tuning
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Well, these guys are the best. I got the best fans anywhere. They are right on it.
Yeah,
So
I can tell that.
Chanel
And you
says
got
every election I wear a button that has the Fonz picture on it and it says for president.
what about Pat Paulson for president? Remember that?
Oh my God, there you go.
Brothers?
Smothers Brothers. God,
Yeah,
those guys were funny.
yeah.
You know what that brings me back though when you mentioned that was Hee Haw.
Hee Haw?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Another
Yep.
classic. There was a guy,
God.
a comedian from Minneapolis that was on there. This guy named Harry Cole. And I think he became a regular on Hee Haw. He was always crying. And I worked with him at a bunch
Yes.
of fairs up in Minnesota before he was on there, around Minnesota and Iowa, way back when. He was MC on a lot of shows at the fairs up there, and he was a riot. And he did the crying thing, with the handkerchief and just weeping and
Yep.
telling his story. And I think they called him. Did they call him Weeping Willie when he was on Hee Haw?
Something like
Same
that.
character,
Yeah.
Harry
Yeah.
King Cole.
Wasn't he one of them that sang that song? No, wait a minute. Maybe he did. He was the one that when they did that where oh where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I searched the world over and thought I found true love. You made another and you were gone. I
yeah,
think he was
yeah,
involved with that too, I think, at one time.
yeah. Are there reruns of Hee Haw on? I haven't seen any. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that
yeah,
on.
there is. Actually on a couple, I don't know the channel. Um, they're down. The CMT might do them. I don't even remember, but is still on. Yeah,
I'll have to
but
look on my Roku TV and see
everybody
which
for
one.
comedy. I mean, just comedy. I used to love all this. Carol Burnett show made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, yeah. Barbie
Mamas,
Corman.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and Tim
yeah,
Conway.
yeah. Oh my God, Tim Conway was amazing.
She would make my mom cry laughing.
Tim Conway. Yeah, I've always wanted to buy those things from was a Time Life where they have all the Carol Burnett shows and all the outtakes and all that stuff. I've always wanted to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
God,
good
that would be
stuff.
fun to do just to watch. That'd be amazing. Chanel says, "Have you seen my Hee Haw thermos?" No. Thermos what? Thermal pants? Thermoses? What? What are you talking about there, Chanel? That's funny. But oh my God, this has been such a wonderful night. I really appreciate you coming on here. This is great.
No, it's been a
Um,
pleasure. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what was going on or what you expected. I didn't know what to expect, but it was fun. I'm glad we did this.
yeah,
Very
this
glad.
was amazing. This is definitely what I wanted. We have covered a lot here tonight, and um, Tim Conway and the Elephant Story on the Carol Burnett Show. I
The
don't know if I
elephant
know that
story.
one.
No, I don't either.
I'll have to look it up. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that one up. The Elephant Story. Okay, cool. I'll look it up because I need a laugh.
Yeah.
I always need a laugh.
Now,
But
do your shows get archived somewhere where you can watch it later? Because I know my
yes,
daughter. They
yep.
do. Okay.
I can actually. I'll send you the link. In the email
Yeah,
where we
please.
were
Yeah, my
talking,
daughter
and
wants to
I'll.
see, but she's got to get up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And she's out there on Eastern time like you. She had to go to
Yeah.
bed. So
Oh yeah,
great.
I'll definitely send it to you. They're still going on with all these different movies: MASH, Bewitched, Gilligan's Island, The Monkees, Archie Bunker's Place. Oh my gosh!
Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh my God! Yes.
And think of all the spin-offs off of her show. Well, Andy Griffith had spin-offs with Gomer.
Yep,
Who else?
Gomer was awesome.
Yeah, but off of Mary Tyler Moore, Gavin MacLeod did Love Boat. Ted
Wasn't
Knight,
Ed Asner's show was off that too, though?
Ed Asner too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rhoda was off
Rhoda. Yep.
that.
Yep. Wow, we are definitely showing our ages here tonight, folks.
Oh man, dinosaurs! You thought Godzilla was a dinosaur.
Oh my God. Oh, but it is sadly time to get this going here, and I've had such a pleasure of having you on the show. I would love to bring you back later on sometime in the future. That would be great. Ruth, I hope you get to meet up with Pat. I hope you get to go there, and hopefully he can get there as well, and you guys can get to meet. It's just amazing, and someday, hopefully, I'd be able to catch your show before you retire, because that would be great. Have you thought about getting somebody to take over for you?
No.
Not teaching anybody young, just
No, I'll keep doing this as long as I can. The older I get, the more verbal stuff I do, less physical stuff. But this is all I know how to do. And thank God I love what we do.
Yeah.
I love what we do. I enjoy it, and I look back at the experiences and the places we've been and the people I've gotten to know, and it's just the whole thing is. It seems like another existence at times, but.
Well, you've been all over the world. You've done so many things, and it's just. Again, I take my hat off to you for touching as many lives as you have, making people smile, the school projects that you're doing, all of it. It's just, oh my God, it's fantastic. Keep doing it. You're a rarity when it comes to people, because we have to care. We have to care about the future, and our children is where it starts at. And if you can make them laugh and show them something unique and keep them going, especially on the right path, then you've done your job. That is just fantastic. So,
amen. Amen to that, brother.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate everything that you do. And Nick is still going, Jack Benny show, and of course that Sullivan show. Oh my God,
Burns and Allen.
Nick. Oh my goodness. What was it? I just had it too. Sonny and Cher show had some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so funny. Oh, Banana Gang. Was it the Banana Split Gang?
Never heard of that one.
Uh-oh. Okay. They were funny. They were just characters. There were guys in big fluffy animal suits, and they just did all these crazy physical humor things. I loved it. But they turned it into a horror movie this past year. So I was really disappointed. Yeah, I was a little disappointed, but I guess it had to do.
Yeah. Nothing stays the same.
Nothing. All right, sir. Well, thank you again. You guys don't forget, go on over and check out his website. And check out his schedule. I'm sure he'll get that updated and everything, or where they're going to be as soon as he knows where he's going to be. Because of the whole pandemic. So my guest tonight has been Mr. Pat Davison. Thank you again, Pat, and you can check him out on supercomedyshow.com. He's got some great photos, even a couple videos, a lot of information, where he's been, what he's done. His family, his beautiful wife and his beautiful daughter, they're still involved in the same thing with him, and it's just an amazing. It sounds like you've had an amazing life, and I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope we can do it again. This has been a lot of fun. You're a fun guy. Interesting to talk to. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. All right. Well, thank you, Pat. I do appreciate you coming on, like I said. So we are going to, guys, you know how it works here at the end of the night. I'm going to show you a quick clip about an event that's happening in June of 2021 that I'm involved in. So we have a whole year to plan this, and I would really like some of my friends to come along with me. And I'll play it for you right now. It's a little trip to Ireland, and I hope you will all join me. Have a good night, Pat. Thank you so much.
You too. Have a good night. Thank you, Ted.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Ted Vanson Jr., and I am a huge John Wayne fan. A Quiet Man, which was one of his iconic movies, was shot and filmed in Ireland. Well, let me tell you something, folks. I'm inviting you to join me in Ireland. And before you say you can't afford it, yes, you can. The company that I am doing this with is called MysteriousAdventurestours.com. I want you to email them. Check out their website, but email them at mysteriousAdventurestours@gmail.com. They have installment plans where you can put so much away to go to this trip until it's paid for. You have a whole year to do it, because we're going June 15th through the 23rd, 2021. Summer solstice. Amazing. Ireland, summer solstice? What's better than that? Wait. I told you what was better. It's A Quiet Man's Journey. We're going to the locations where they filmed The Quiet Man. That's amazing, right? Folks, you can afford this trip. Again, contact MysteriousAdventurestours.com. All right. Shortly, a video is going to be coming up here after me, and I would like you to watch it. Check out the information at the end, and do yourself a favor and contact them. Join me in 2021 for the summer solstice and for A Quiet Man's Journey. We'll see you there. Thank you and my guests for joining me here on Talk with Teddy. Be safe and look out for one another. Don't forget that Talk with Teddy is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, so please go and subscribe. Thank you.